Let's go to the topic now, which is values-based management, transformation and spirituality. I'm going to talk about the word manager itself, which Swami gave in a discourse on 30th July 1989. In a discourse to students of Swami's university as part of the MBA program, Swami had given the definition of the word manager. He had taken each alphabet of the word manager and had elaborated it and said what each of that alphabet stands for. I'm going to take each of that alphabet, say what Swami said in the context of that particular alphabet and the world of business and management, but then go to the world of spirituality and share what spiritual insight we can get from that particular word and how we can practice that in our daily life. And all of this I'll try and incorporate with experiences, Chinnakathas and other parables. So M in the word manager stands for the mind of man. Again, first the word man itself. In the society that we live, you say using the word man is being sexist. Oh, you're chauvinistic. You use the word man and not the word woman. The word man does not symbolize the person who is a man by gender. It symbolizes the one who has manas or mind. The word man itself has come from the word manas. So the word man is there even in woman, because it means the one with the mind is man. And I am a strong believer that this entire concept of women's empowerment is a fallacy. We are trying to say that women needs to be empowered when women are the most empowered species in creation. The power of the mother to give birth and experience and bear the pain, which is equivalent to 22 fractures at the time of delivery of the child, is an unparalleled pain which only a woman is capable of bearing, which men can never bear. Where is the question of empowering women? Prakriti has given the highest power and the highest virtues to women itself. So there is no question of empowering women. Women are the ones who give us the power. Women are the ones who give us inspiration. Women are the ones who give their life force so that an entire generation comes into existence. That is the power which women have been given by Creator himself. So that is man. The word man comes from the word manas, or the mind. So mind of man. In the word manager, the first alphabet M stands for mind of man. I'll read out what Swami said so that you have his exact words, and then I will go into elaborations. Swami said, and I quote, "Mind is a mass of thoughts. All the actions undertaken by humans are stimulated by thoughts. The result of these actions are our joys and sorrows. Therefore, the root cause of joys and sorrows are our deeds, for which in turn thoughts are responsible. If thoughts are good, the deeds will be good. If the deeds are good, life will be enjoyable. So what deeds and thoughts should man develop? This has to be inquired first. Each individual should reiterate the affirmation, I am man, not an animal. We should learn as to what type of thoughts a human being should have. Man must have human qualities such as truth, love, patience, sacrifice and compassion. In addition, man should have unity between thought, word and deed. Man has the right to call himself a man only when he symbolizes these types of deeds and qualities. Hence, the word M stands for the mind of man. Mind, thoughts, desires form the basis of human life. I shared that in the introduction of my talk. I'll share a small story of how the human mind can play mischief. Two neighbors, they're all Chinnakathas from Swami's literature. Two neighbors staying next to each other. One of them had a hen in his house. The other one did not like animals or birds or whatever. This particular gentleman had come new into the neighborhood. The hen, what does it do in the morning? It crows. Whatever it's called in Tamil, it does that. This man, who did not like animals, used to get fed up. Every time this hen is crowing in the morning. So after a week of patience, he went to this neighbor and said, you know, because of your hen, I don't get sleep at night. He said, why? He said, because your hen is crowing in the morning. He said, but you said you don't get sleep in the night. My hen is crowing only in the morning. He said, yes, your hen is crowing in the morning. But the whole night I keep thinking, now the hen will crow, now the hen will crow, and thinking the whole night I don't get sleep. This is the kind of games the mind plays with us. All the time we are thinking about what will happen next. What will happen next? When is my next promotion? When is my next increment? When is the next holiday? When is the next party? When is the next pilgrimage, celebration, anything? Next. In the process, the now is lost. We are always doing two things. We are either thinking about our past or we are hoping about the future. Have we ever analyzed that? We are either thinking about the past or we are focusing on the future. How much time do we spend in living in the present? Just ask yourself, even now you are thinking, oh, it's 11:15, the program will get over by 12, I'll reach home at 12:30, this is Sunday morning lunch, I'll have these 4-5 special items, then in the afternoon I will sleep, then I will come in time for bhajans to Sundaram. All these thoughts are going on. Tomorrow, Monday, what assignments are pending, how much time I have at night, I have to complete this paperwork. All the time we are thinking about the future. Personal life, professional life, spiritual life. The present is omnipresent. Because the present is an outcome of the past and the present is the seed for the future. The present is an outcome of the past. Whatever we are doing today, whatever we have today is the outcome of whatever we did in the past, whether this birth or the previous ones. Similarly, what we do now is the seed of the future. So both these times in which we spend the maximum time don't exist. Past is past. Swami used to say, forget the past. Future is mystery. You do not know what is going to happen. So live in the present. But the function of the mind is always not to live in the present. And hence the first job of a good manager or a good spiritual aspirant is to live in the present. And to work on the power of now. There's a very famous book called Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle wrote that book a couple of decades earlier. Adi Shankaracharya spoke about that 1200 years earlier. But because an international author tells us, we say, oh, the power of now. But if Adi Shankaracharya tells us, oh, that was relevant 1200 years ago. Pavam Adi Shankaracharya did not know that 1200 years later, things will change. These are eternal principles. 1200 years later, 12,000 years later, or 12 yugas later, these principles are not going to change. They are kalatita, they are beyond time, because these are the fundamental realities of life. So mind of man, as Swami said, the whole objective is to live in the present and focus on doing our work well. Swami always used to give the example, and it took me 10 years to understand. Every time Swami removes this kerchief, I will say, Swami, you have given this example so many times. It took me 10 years to mature, to understand what Swami was telling from that example. The kerchief is made of threads, and the threads are made of cotton. Cotton is the basis which gets converted into yarn or thread. Thread gets converted into kerchief. Swami used to say, similarly, desires are the cotton, thoughts are the threads, and all of these put together is the mind. If we want to undo this kerchief, what do we have to do? Individually remove each of the threads. But we can't do anything about the cotton. It has to be burnt. Otherwise it will still remain if we want to nullify this car. Similarly, if we want to undo the problems of the mind, each of the thoughts have to be slowly separated and removed. And the desires which are the basis of the thoughts have to be eventually annihilated. That is how the mind will go. Paramahamsa Yogananda had said, if death is going to solve all the problems of life, come, let's all hold hands and die together. We always think that by dying all our problems will get solved, isn't it? All the parties and tatas will say, I am waiting for this life to end, so all these problems will get solved. I am sorry. Your problems are not going to get solved by dying out of old age or by committing suicide in the present. Because the death kills only the body. The mind is deathless. The mind has no death because the mind is your own creation. Until you exist, the mind will exist. So in order to annihilate the mind, we don't need to die. In order to annihilate our problems, we don't need to give up the physical body. Only physical problems will go with death. If you have severe physical maladies, yes, that will go. Because the body is the basis of the physical malady, but not the mental maladies. So in order to rise above the mind, the problems of the mind, we need to cater to the mind's requirements in a very explicit way. Swami had given the example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. One lady had once come and asked, Thakur, the mind is giving me lot of problems. Please help me. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, yes. Tomorrow you bring your mind to me, I will set it right. Now the mind is not a dog that can be brought and given to someone to say this is giving, or a child or a youth. Where is the mind? We think the mind is here. This is not where the mind is. This is the brain. The mind is not a concept which exists in medical science. Because there is no tangible hardware where the mind is stored. Everywhere is the mind. Have you ever analyzed these things? We always think, my mind is telling me, why the mind is not here? When you get hungry, it comes from here, isn't it? So, we need to understand that the mind is the basis of all the problems. And okay, so all this we know. Now what do? We need to solve this problem. First solution. If you take a nice piece of paper, you put nice jasmine flowers in that, what fragrance will it give? After the flowers have been removed, what fragrance will the paper give? Jasmine. If you put in that onion vadas, it will give vada fragrance. If you put in that some stale, stinking product, fish, we are all hardcore vegetarians, but if you pack fish in piece of paper, dried fish, it will smell of the dried fish. So is the paper responsible or the content is responsible? So what kind of company the mind keeps, that will be the kind of priorities the mind will have. Dust in the company of water sinks. The same dust in the company of air rises. Dust is dust, but the company takes it to where it goes. Similarly, we will go in the direction in which the kind of company we keep. Swami always used to say, tell me your company and I shall tell you what you are. Choosing our friends, choosing our associates, choosing our partners, choosing our business affiliates, all of these are very important decisions because all of them will have a direct impact on the kind of priorities, preferences and inspiration that we have in our life. From a spiritual perspective, we need to ensure that we are all the time surrounded by good company. Now, good company does not come only when you come to Sundaram. That's the first requirement, of course. That's why we have bhajans on Sundays, Thursdays also, Thursdays. We have programs every week, so that at least those 3-4 hours in a month, the institution, not 3-4 hours in a month, 3-4 hours in a week, and about 16 to 20 hours in a month, the institution provides a platform where we can indulge in satsang by good company, because all of the people who come here are by and large Sai devotees, at least in form, if not in practice, hopefully all in practice as well. That's the agenda which we started with. So that is first, good company. But what about it when you go outside? So have good company in terms of your family members, your friends, your colleagues, peers and all. Keep good company. But they are also not going to be with you at all the time. So how do you ensure that good company is there when nobody is around you? That's why Swami had said, satsang is not just company of good people. Satya plus sangha is satsanga. The company of truth or good thoughts, good ideas, good objectives is the highest satsanga. And in these times, we have all the equipment available to live in satsanga. iPod, iPad, iMac, iPhone. I'm serious. These are the best tools which will help you to be in satsanga all the time. Because all of them have junk, but all of them have Swami's discourses. They have bhajans. They have extremely inspirational literature from Adi Shankaracharya to Gautam Buddha, from Vardhaman, Mahavira to Jesus Christ. The highest of wisdom from all religions is also accessible. It is left to us whether we are opening it for those 20 minutes when we are traveling to work to look at cinema updates, or to learn a new verse, or to listen to an excerpt of Swami's discourse, or to abide in the presence of Prashant Nilayam by listening to 2 or 3 bhajans. It is our choice. But this is the best time in Kali Yuga where even satsanga is at the tip of your finger. Even sitting here, I can listen to Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbalakshmi and her devotion, and experience that by the power of technology. In the earlier times, we had to go to a kacheri. If MS Amma is, she used to, by Chennai's good grace, she used to stay in Chennai. But for those in America, only when she goes there, they can hear in person. When there was no TV and no radio and no other access. But now each one of us can dwell in the divine presence by all of this. So satsanga is first in the organizational opportunities, second in the kind of company we keep, and all the time in the kind of thoughts we keep. So the mind of man can be brought to that particular level if we ensure that this kind of satsanga is our priority. Otherwise, what will happen? When too much of water is added to milk, the milk loses its identity, but the water becomes special. So do not dilute the milk. The milk of love, the milk of grace, the milk of divine blessings that we have got need not be diluted by the worldly influences. But the problem is, we'll say, oh, but what can I do? Wherever I go, I see only negativity. Swami always used to say, people tell me, oh, wherever I go, there is so much of negativity. Correct. So then what answer Swami used to give? Why do you have doors and windows in the house? Why are these doors and windows kept? Huh? To move out, yes. Also, to close them so that nobody from outside comes in. Swami used to say, in the hinterland, doors and windows are given to houses so that dogs and pigs and cattle don't enter the house. Swami said, similarly, each one of you have been given doors and windows. These are all the doors and windows. Sapta Prakare Navadvare is the architecture of a temple. You know from where the temple architecture has come. Tamil Nadu has one of the most beautiful temple architectures. I just keep looking at the Gopurams and see what beautiful architecture India has given to the world. But what is the inspiration of the Sapta Prakaram and Navadvaram? The skin is the Sapta Prakaram. Like there are 7 layers of the temple, there are 7 layers of the skin. The skin is the inspiration behind the 7 layers of the temple, and Navadwaram is the 9 doors to our own body. So the temple is an exact replica of the human form. The Dvajastambha is your spinal column, the Garbhagriha is the heart, and the deity inside is verily your soul. So the temple itself is an extension of the human body. And when we live our life with that awareness and close these doors and windows to ensure that all the dogs and pigs and donkeys and cattle don't enter into our house, we are able to ensure the sanity of the mind and remain in good company. But the problem is, we don't want good company. We only want to show that we are in good company. Oh, I do bhajans, you know. My daughter is a very good singer. My son plays the violin. He also plays mridangam, ghatam. We want others to praise the kind of skills and capabilities that we have, so that we are esteemed as good individuals in society. Does the rose need to say that I have great fragrance? If the rose doesn't even have the name rose, its presence will give fragrance in the room. I had gone to my cousin sister's wedding. I just went near the stage where the reception was, and I just had a waft of feeling that, oh, Swami is here. Why? I thought, what happened? It gave me the temple kind of a feeling. When I looked behind, there were the kind of flowers on the stage, which are the kind of flowers that are used in decoration in Prashantinilayam. The flower makes its presence felt by its fragrance. We do not need to tell others who we are, how we are. Our presence itself will indicate that. So I had given a very nice story. There was this man who used to come and sit inside the temple from morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The pujari was getting fed up because everybody used to go. This man used to sit in the temple and do meditation. Now the pujari has his own household, food, getting ready for the evening. So he has to close the temple door and go. Otherwise, how will he go and do the other work? Then he realized that this man is only a donga devotee. You know what is a donga devotee? Donga is a Telugu word for thief. He's only a pretending devotee. He's not a genuine devotee. So one fine day, when nobody was in the temple, this particular pujari went behind the idol. This man was sitting in front and closing his eyes and meditating, pretending to meditate. This pujari went behind the temple idol, and then in a deep, sonorous voice, he said, "My child, I am immensely pleased with your devotion. Come, merge into me forever." This man opened his eyes, fully scared. Then he looked, nobody is around. The voice has come probably from the idol, and the idol is inviting him to merge in itself. He immediately folded his meditation mat and ran away from the temple, never to come again. Because he was not interested in merging into the divinity. He was interested in being seen by others that he is a great devotee. He is spending 6 hours a day in the temple, and hence he is very close to God. We should not be pretending to be devotees. We should start tending to be devotees. And we should finally end up being a devotee and then live a life in that identity forever. Because once we are a Sai devotee or a Sai student, whether we want it or not, we are always identified as one. Wherever you go, your identity as being a Sai devotee or a Sai student precedes you. And people start looking at you only from the lens of the way Swami wants us to be. That's why Swami said, once you come to me, whether you leave me or not, I will not leave you. This is the way he doesn't leave us. He constantly reminds us of the level in which he wants us to behave. So if we think we wear white and come here, and the rest of the time we can do colorful activities, then we are mistaken. Because whether anybody is watching or not, first of all, he is always watching. And secondly, the society is also always watching. That these are the people who claim to be Sai Baba's devotees, but their behavior in the ashram and the mandir and the work and seva time is very different, and the rest of the time is different. That should never be the complaint, because then it reflects on him, not on us. Because they will not say, oh, Mr. Nagarajan or Mr. Tyagarajan or Mr. Varadarajan is like that. They will say the Sai Baba's devotees are like that. That is the last kind of comment we should ever have in Swami's name. So 24/7, we always need to be absolutely alert.